couple of weeks ago, I said I was going to shoot a little video of replacing this pressure switch on this brake. There's a Brembo radial brake here, which the radial part just means that the piston runs radially from the handlebar rather than running at an angle like a lot of older bikes and a lot of bikes. Actually, this one right over here, we have one, that's a non-radial, where the piston assembly for the master cylinder runs basically more or less parallel to the handlebar. And so we have this. The idea behind this is you get a little more strength because it can't flex in, which is maybe arguable, but you know, why not? And it looks cool. So this is cool. This did not come on this bike. The previous owner had these installed, and I was going to replace that pressure switch, but then I got to looking around and I found a company, which MotoWheels, I believe the name of the company, and they make this switch, which this thing is finished super nice. This is a Brembo switch that is a contact switch. You've got the little red piece right there, which doesn't want to focus in. Let's see if we can get it to focus a little bit better. And this thing will just pivot around, and you have that little contact right there. And what it does is you've got the shaft, and you remove the shaft from your Brembo brake. That'll just come straight out, and then this thing is going to fit up in there, and you have this little tab right here, this little hollow, and it's going to fit right on this little deal right here. So this part's super straightforward. You're going to just take this clip out, you're going to push the pin out, you're going to install this pin in place of that with this little cup around this right here, and then you have just a regular trigger switch instead of this pressure switch, which this pressure switch has pretty much failed completely. It's the back wheel's off the ground by the time the switch works. And that's the easy part. The more difficult part is we're going to also put this on here, which this is a new banjo bolt with new washers and everything. This is called a single banjo bolt because this bike has just the one brake line coming in here, which is hidden by there we go, that one brake line instead of a dual brake line, which some bikes have. They'll have two lines come in or come out of here. And the best part about that is we'll get rid of this really tall switch here, because on this bike, when we bring the handlebar in, you can see how super close that gets to the tank. And once I remove that, I can readjust the limits for the fork and the steering, and I can get a little more turn in on the steering, because this bike, you can see down here, we have these limit adjusters that control how tight you can turn the bike. And I would love to be able to cut this over a little bit tighter, and especially like parking lot speed, to really be able to lean the bike over and get those tight turns, because I can only get this thing down to maybe 16 feet or a little less circle before I'm hitting the bump stops. So I'd love to be able to tighten it up a little bit. And hopefully, it's rainy and crappy right now, we'll be able to do that. And also another thing I want to talk about is had an issue with my dashboard failing, and unfortunately I don't have any video of that, but I should have some still photos of how I fixed that. Alright.